Well, hello people. How are you all today? I hope everyone is doing good. Well, I need to talk to us today about my testimony. I'm actually someone that doesn't really like to be in the public eyes. Like what I'm doing today is far from what I usually do. If you're someone that knows me, you will know that I usually like a private and quiet life. But this happened like in 2014. This time I was going through medical school, trying to get into my residency. Then in the process, things started happening that weren't happening in my life before. Things weren't going the way they were supposed to go. Apart from this, initially I used to go to church, pray, but not in the aspect that I started praying. This time around, I started praying more and I started going to church more. So I was like fasting and praying more and more than I usually do. So in the process, one night as I was praying and I was kneeling down and praying, something happened that was unusual. It kind of like took me out of my real body and I saw something that was strange to me. Meanwhile, in this time, I'm not usually someone that believes in visions. I have never believed in that. Um, I've heard about it, I've read about it, but I don't usually like believe that visions can happen. But when that happened, I felt like an angel was over me with a huge wing, and I felt this utmost peace that I've never seen before. And then after that, I started from that point on. Every time I pray, I started seeing visions. Then I started asking God one day, God, what is this that I'm seeing? If this is actually coming from you, can you give me a sign and let me know? So one day, as I was praying again, God actually gave me a sign that I wasn't expecting. Because in this one, I was praying from praying. I saw a hand that stretched with an envelope that's stapled, and the hand was giving it to me. Immediately, I opened the door. So I kind of took it lightly. I didn't call it anything. But what happened that day was when I went to work that same day, immediately I walked through the door. My manager was coming to me the same way I saw it in that vision with an envelope on a stretched out hand. And I was like, oh my gosh. So this is God actually showing me all these things all this while. So after that, I started praying more. I started thanking God more and learning more from the Bible. And since then, it's been going on. Every time I will pray and I will see visions, and God actually started showing me things within me, in my family, and around my friends that I pray with, just to confirm to me that He's the one showing me this. And and even in dreams, I would dream and see myself like preaching and talking to people in churches, things like that. So that's actually why I started doing this. So I went and talked to some pastors, and they told me that this is actually God trying to use me, that He really wants to use me in His kingdom to preach and to talk to people, that's what He's actually telling me. So that's the reason I started this YouTube channel, to help in getting the word across to people, to let them know that God is real and that God is actually doing his work and seeing us, and that he will be here even before we can know it. God is not a man that he should lie. What he says he will do, he will do. And that God, ever since then, I've had this peace in my life. I've had this joy in my life. I've had all kinds of stuff in my family that I um, have never had before. And I have been praying to God to teach me, to direct me, to guide me, to show me what He wants me to tell to His people, that I can relate to them. Every day that I talk to Him, whatever I get from Him, I will tell it to the people. When I heard about all these, I was getting a little should I say fear? Like, how am I gonna say this? How are people gonna take it? Are they gonna um, take what I'm about to tell them? But in the process, I realized that when God says go, you have to go. When God says do what He wants you to do, you have to do it. It doesn't matter who is listening, who is watching, or whatever they are going to say about it. You have to go do what God asks you to do. And that's what I'm out to do this time around. I'm now ready for God to use me. And I prayed and cried. I said, God, use me when you need a vessel to use. If you have decided to use me to do this work, guide me, direct my path, show me what to say and what to tell your people. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I thank God for that. And on the other hand, I was going to talk about from my previous video, the initial one that I did, when I talked about Genesis chapter 16, about Sarah and how she did not wait on God to do the work that God had promised them by giving them a son, Isaac, when she decided to take matters in her own hands by sending in Hagar, her one of her slaves. Well, there's a lot in that chapter that you can gain from it. That's how I came across Jehovah Roy. That was what Hagar called God when she decided to run away with her pregnancy, and she was in the middle of the desert when God came to her through the voice of an angel and told her that he had seen her and knows what she was going through. And God told her that she needs to go back to her mistress and she has to be submissive to her. That's when she knew, and she said, this is the God that sees me, Jehovah Roy. So God does see us, no matter where we are, no matter the situation, no matter whatever it is that you're going through in your life. You might think that God does not know or that God does not see you. He does see you. He does know. Sometimes He lets you go through this burning fire. He lets you go through this situation to get you to where He wants you to be. And that's why He's doing this. And I learned this also in my process that I went through, that God was actually trying to prepare me for the next step that He's gonna put in my life, that He wants to show me how to get there. Because if you don't have the experience, you don't know what to tell the people. And that was God telling me through experience what I can relate to other people. Believe me, I do have a lot of stories to tell that can motivate people, that can teach people, that can tell people that God is real and that when God says move, you have to move. So I'm going to leave it on that today. And I hope to continue with you guys from this point on. I pray that whatever the situation is in your life, that God will answer you at the right time. And always remember to pray and ask God to show you whatever it is that you're going through in your life, that God will guide you and direct you in the situation. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.